Welcome to Unload and Show Clear, the podcast about all things IDPA. And now, here's your host, the slayer of non-threats, Lloyd Bailey.
Welcome to Unload and Show Clear, a podcast about the men and women who compete in IDPA, International Defensive Pistol Association. I'm your host, Lloyd Bailey, and this is episode number 126. And today's show is a little bit different. For those of you who are regular listeners to the show, you can tell already we're doing something a little bit different today. There's a few things I wanted to cover today, just to do a little housekeeping and let you know what's coming. And then one final point that I want to make in today's show as we wrap it up. First, December is going to be a short month, just preparing you, letting you know what's coming. Starting with Monday's show, which will be episode number 127, there will be 6 more shows in 2019. Episode 132 on December 19th will be the last show of the year. We're going to take a couple of weeks off, celebrate Christmas, and get ready for 2020. And speaking of 2020, the second thing I wanted to share with you is that 2020 is going to be a little bit different. When I first started Unload and Show Clear, I invited a bunch of people to be on the show. I use an online scheduling service. For those of you who have been on the show, you know what I'm talking about. You log in, you select a day and a time that's convenient, and it goes on my calendar. I never expected that people would be interested in being on the show, but they were. Lots of people. I was doing 5 to 7 interviews per week for the first month. And at one point I think it was in August of 2018, I realized that I had enough interviews recorded and enough scheduled to last me into mid-2019, over 6 months worth of stuff. And when a guest would ask me, well, when's my show going to come out? I just couldn't bring myself to tell them that it was going to be 6 months. It'll be sometime next year. I just couldn't do it. So I decided that I would release the show twice per week on Mondays and Thursdays. Now, I run 2 podcasts, 3 if you count the episodes that I create for a terrestrial radio station in Oregon. That means that I am recording and producing at least 4 shows a week. Along with family and a full-time job, that's a lot of work. This sounds like it's easy. It sounds like it's fun. It is fun, but it's a lot of work. And my friend Bora Angel, our guest on episode 11, likes to kind of poke fun at me about having a podcast that's about a sport that I never compete in. I just don't have time. I have not attended a single local match in 2019, not even one. I just don't have time. I have all this stuff that I'm working on, and I don't have time to actually shoot. So starting in 2020, on January 6th, with episode number 133, Unload and Show Clear will become a weekly podcast. And the Thursday show is going to go away. And hopefully my life's going to get a little less hectic and I'll actually be able to participate in this sport again, which would be fun. The last thing I wanted to discuss with you, I wanted to share, is of course the fact that today is Thanksgiving here in the United States. The American holiday of Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving is celebrated in a couple of different countries. Several different countries celebrate some form of Thanksgiving. There are different meanings behind them, but the American version dates back to the Pilgrims in the early 17th century when the early American colonists held a feast and gave thanks to God for their good fortune. For 140 years, that holiday was observed different times and in different places, depending on which state you were in. It might be a different time of year. Then in 1863, President Abraham Lincoln made a proclamation that made Thanksgiving a national holiday and fixed the date of that holiday on the fourth Thursday in November every year. And every year, American families gather around the table together and give thanks to God for their good fortune in their lives. They give thanks for the food, but they give thanks for so much more as well. And that's what I want to close today's program with. As a host of this program, I have a ton of things to be thankful for. And I'd like to take this opportunity to share those things with you and express my gratitude. I am thankful for the abilities that I've been given by God to be able to make this podcast. I'm thankful that I live in a nation where I can own firearms and participate in the shooting sports. I'm thankful for my wife who helps me with this podcast and my kids, my family who is supportive of my hobby and of these podcasts. I'm thankful that through this podcast, I've had the opportunity to meet some really, really amazing people and to go to some cool places and some exciting matches. I'm thankful for the sport of IDPA because thanks to this sport, an introvert like me has made a whole new world of friends. I'm thankful for friends like Aaron Ragusa and Will and Chris Schmid and Jay Heil, who helped fund my travels this year and allowed me to go to places like Illinois and Indiana. I'm thankful for the patrons of this show, the people who contribute every month to help keep us going. People like Jackie Russo and Frank DeCastro and Jay Heil and Jesse Walker and Joe Bowden and John Wolfe and Joseph Gibson and Kelly Horton, Mike Zakowski, Sam Moore, Scott Blank, Scott Martin, Thomas Lashbrook, and Timothy Couchramage. I thank you all so much for your support. I am so thankful that you value what I'm doing here enough to make a contribution every month out of your pocket. That means a ton to me. I cannot tell you how thankful I am for that. And I would be remiss if I didn't express my thanks, my gratitude for the sponsors who have made this show possible this year. I'm extremely grateful for their support. Companies like the Blue Bullets, who are making this show and every show and who made every show in October and November possible. And it means a lot to me that a company like the Blue Bullets would consider sponsoring this show, because there's a couple of reasons for that. I'm a customer. I believe in their products, and a former guest, Brad Wildbrenner, recommended me to them, and they took a chance on me. I love Blue Bullets. When I started shooting, I got into reloading after we moved here to Texas, and the company I bought bullets from was the Blue Bullets. Now, I don't reload as much as I used to. Again, when you don't get to shoot very much, you don't reload very much. But hopefully next year, the press gets going again and the Blue Bullets get slapped back in those millions of brass cases that I've got sitting in buckets in my garage, because I trust the Blue Bullets. I've used them. It's the only company I've ever used. They've always been perfect. They are low smoke. They don't foul the barrels. They're safe for Glocks. I shoot Glock. They're priced really comparably to lead bullets. They don't lead your barrel. They're great. I don't always perform very well at matches. I can tell you that. You can just look at my scores and you can see that. But the Blue Bullets never let me down. It was never because of the bullets letting me down. They're accurate, they're clean, they're consistent. I always had great performance from the Blue Bullets. even when I wasn't shooting well, they were. Visit thebluebullets.com today. Tell them you heard about their products on Unload and Show Clear. Use the promo code BBUNC when you check out, and you'll save 5% off your order. Check them out at thebluebullets.com. And finally, I would be remiss if I didn't tell you, all of you who listen to this show, how much you mean to me, and to thank all of you for what you do, for listening to this show, for sharing it with family and friends. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate each and every one of you. It really does mean a lot, especially when I get emails or messages, or when I see people face to face at matches and they say, "Hey, I love the podcast. I really appreciate it." That means the world to me, and that makes all of this worth doing, all the work behind it worth doing. So thank you so much for your support. That's all I've got for today's show, folks. Like I said, a little bit different than usual. Just wanted to sort of do a little housekeeping, let you know what was going on in the coming months, and to express my gratitude for all of the great things that are in my life as a result of IDPA and this podcast. And thank you, all of you, for listening. I hope you have a safe and happy Thanksgiving. Hope you're surrounded by good food, great friends, your family, and all your loved ones. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Tune in again next time. We'll be back on Monday with episode 127 and another guest right here on Unload and Show Clear.